Today we're going to look at the question of the devil. Who is the devil? What is the tradition surrounding the devil and Satan? What does the Bible say about Satan? And so I want to begin with one of the earliest stories that we have regarding Satan, and that's the story within the book of Job. Within the book of Job, we're given the image of Satan not in the way that we usually picture him as this character who's red and has horns and a tail with a pitchfork. The image we're given of Satan is of someone who is actually in the service of God. Satan in the book of Job is part of God's court, God's royal court. And so Satan is actually a servant of God, and Satan has a particular job within Job. Satan's job is to tempt God's loyal subjects. Satan has responsibility to make sure that people who claim to be loyal to God actually are loyal to God. That's Satan's job. So if you remember the beginning of the book of Job, Satan goes to God, and God presents Job and says, "Isn't my servant Job wonderful?" And Satan says, "Yes, he is. But that's because you've given him all these blessings. If you take the blessings away," Satan says, "Job will not be as loyal to you." And so God gives Satan permission to remove from Job all of the blessings that he has received. And this happens a couple times. And Job's family is killed, his wife, his children, his property is taken, and eventually Job is left alone. And we're told that he sits in ashes and in the dump, and he questions God as to why he's being punished. Because Job says, "I've done nothing wrong." So it's the ultimate question of why do bad things happen to good people? And that's the question of Job. But returning to Satan, again, Satan here is not this image of this demonic figure. Satan is simply a servant of God. And as a servant of God, his job is to test God's loyal subjects. And that's the earliest image that we're given of Satan from the earliest story of the Bible. Now, the image of Satan evolves into what we have in the Garden of Eden. That is that Satan, as the Prince of Lies, tempts Adam and Eve to eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now realize that as the Prince of Lies, Satan uses half-truths to get Adam and Eve to do what he wants. He doesn't really lie to them when he says, when you eat from the tree, you will have knowledge of good and evil. He's telling them the truth. So Satan here uses half-truths to get what he wants. And that's what Satan does in our lives as well. He tempts us with half-truths. At some point, tradition says Satan becomes envious of God's love for humanity and therefore rebels against God. And the book of Revelation tells the story of the battle between Michael and the angels and Satan and his followers. And Satan is cast down with his followers, and they are cast down and defeated, and they are thrown down to earth. And it is there that they are then left to tempt humanity. It is after being thrown down that Satan becomes the most dangerous. Dante gives us the image of what he sees after climbing down Satan's body and then looking up. He doesn't see Satan's head, but he sees Satan's feet. And he's told this is because this is how Satan landed upon the earth. And his head and torso are embedded into the earth. His legs and feet are sticking up. One of the things that is often overlooked about the angels and the devil is that they had free will, just like we have free will. God loved them enough to give them this free will. They had a choice to love God or not. And when that choice was made to separate themselves from God, God, out of love, honored that free will choice. So the devil and his followers are cast out from heaven, not out of punishment, but out of love. One of the things that you need to remember is that Jesus himself was tempted by the devil. And he was able to overcome these temptations. And so can we. Tomorrow, we're going to look at what can happen in the extreme when we give in to these temptations.